The patrol started like any other quiet day. The police officer drove slowly to the far edge of the town, where broken roads met empty land. Old buildings stood with cracked walls, and weeds grew taller than the fences. This area was often ignored. People passed by without looking twice. It was the kind of place where things were left behind and forgotten. Beside the officer sat his police dog, alert and calm. The dog had been trained for years to notice what humans often missed. His ears moved slightly with every sound, and his eyes scanned the surroundings with focus. The officer trusted him deeply. They had worked together for a long time, and many times the dog's instincts had proven right. As the vehicle slowed near an abandoned lot, the dog suddenly lifted his head. His body became stiff. He let out a low sound, not loud, but enough to get attention. The officer noticed immediately and stopped the car. This was not normal behavior. The dog was sensing something. The officer stepped out, the gravel crunching under his boots. The air smelled damp and cold. The dog pulled gently on the leash, leading him toward a pile of broken wood and trash near the corner of the lot. At first, there was nothing visible, just shadows, dirt, and silence. Then the officer heard it, a faint sound, weak, almost like the wind, but not quite. He paused and listened closely. The sound came again, a soft cry full of fear and pain. His heart tightened. He moved closer, careful not to scare whatever was hiding there. As he bent down and looked under the broken boards, he saw a pair of eyes staring back at him. They were wide, tired, and filled with fear. A thin mother dog was crouched low, her body wrapped tightly around something small. The police dog sat down calmly, as trained, but his eyes softened. He knew this was not a threat. The officer slowly knelt. Under the boards lay a mother dog, shaking slightly. Her fur was dirty and matted. Her ribs showed through her skin. Pressed against her chest was a tiny puppy, barely moving, making weak crying sounds. The puppy's eyes were still closed, and its body looked far too small for the cold ground it lay on. The mother dog growled softly, not with anger, but with fear. She shifted her body to shield the puppy, ready to protect it with what little strength she had left. The officer raised his hands slightly, showing he meant no harm. He spoke in a low, gentle voice, the kind used to calm scared people and animals alike. He did not move closer right away. He stayed still, letting the moment breathe. The dog had clearly been abandoned. There were no bowls, no blankets, no sign that anyone planned to return. Just trash, broken wood, and silence. The officer had seen many things in his years of service, but this always hurt the most. Life left behind as if it meant nothing. The puppy whimpered again. The sound was weak, almost fading. That sound pushed the officer into action, but he knew rushing could make things worse. The mother dog's eyes never left him. Every small movement made her tense. The police dog remained sitting calm and steady. His presence was quiet but important. Animals often trusted him more than humans, and today was no different. The officer slowly unclipped the leash, giving the dog freedom to move naturally. The police dog lay down a short distance away, lowering his head, showing no threat. The mother dog watched him carefully. She did not relax, but her growling softened. The officer reached into his bag and took out a small bottle of water. He placed it on the ground, then gently pushed it closer using his fingers, keeping his body low. The water bottle stopped a short distance from the boards. The mother dog sniffed the air. Her nose twitched. She had likely not had water in a long time. Still, fear held her back. She looked at the officer, then at the police dog, then back at her puppy. Minutes passed slowly. The cold wind moved through the lot, making the broken boards creak. The officer stayed still. He did not speak again. Sometimes silence was better. Finally, the mother dog stretched her neck forward just enough to lick the water. Her tongue moved slowly, weakly. She drank in small sips, never taking her eyes off the officer. After a moment, she drank more longer this time. Her body shook less. The officer felt a small sense of relief, but he knew this was only the beginning. Water alone would not save them. The puppy was still crying softly, its tiny body pressed into its mother's chest for warmth. The officer took out some food and gently placed it beside the water. He backed away slightly to give space. The mother dog sniffed again. Hunger won over fear. She ate slowly, carefully, stopping often to check her surroundings. The police dog watched quietly. His tail moved once, slow and gentle. As the mother dog ate, the officer noticed how tired she looked. Her eyes were dull, her movements slow. She had likely been surviving on instinct alone. The puppy's breathing was shallow. Time was not on their side. The officer looked around the empty lot. No houses nearby. No people. Just open land and cold air. Whoever left these dogs here did not plan for them to survive. The officer stood up slowly and stepped back to his car. He radioed for assistance, his voice steady but urgent. He explained the situation clearly. Help would come, but it would take time. He returned to the dogs and knelt again. The mother dog had stopped eating and was now licking her puppy's head, as if trying to comfort it. The puppy moved slightly, then went still again, exhausted. The officer felt a heavy weight in his chest. This was no longer just a call or a duty. This was life hanging by a thread. He gently took off his jacket and folded it. Slowly, carefully, he placed it near the boards, close enough for warmth but not too close to scare her. The jacket blocked some of the wind. The mother dog watched but did not move away. The police dog shifted closer, laying on the other side of the jacket. His body blocked more cold air. It was not something he was trained to do, but it felt natural. The officer stayed there with them, waiting. He did not check the time. He did not rush. He knew trust was still forming, fragile and thin. The mother dog rested her head down for the first time. Her eyes did not close fully, but her body relaxed just a little. The puppy stopped crying and pressed closer to her warmth. In that quiet, forgotten place, something changed. What started as a routine patrol became something far more important. This was not just about law or order. This was about compassion, patience, and choosing to care when no one else had. The officer stayed alert, watching the road, listening for help to arrive. He also watched the mother dog and her puppy, silently promising that they were no longer alone. And that was only the beginning. The waiting felt longer than it really was. The officer stayed crouched near the broken boards, keeping his movements slow and calm. Every now and then, he glanced toward the road, hoping to see help arrive sooner. The wind grew stronger, pushing dust across the empty lot. The cold settled deeper into ground. The mother dog lifted her head when the wind changed. Her ears twitched at every sound. She was still alert, still afraid. Even after the water and food, trust did not come easily. Life had taught her to be careful. She had likely learned the hard way. The police dog remained still, lying near the jacket. His breathing was steady. He did not stare. He did not move closer, without reason. His calm presence seemed to ease the tension in the air. Animals understood each other in ways humans sometimes could not. The officer spoke softly again, just a few words, gentle and slow. He did not try to touch her. He knew fear could return quickly. The mother dog watched his lips move, listened to the tone rather than the words. His voice was not sharp. It did not carry threat. The puppy shifted slightly, letting out a weak sound. The mother dog lowered her head and licked the puppy's back again and again, as if reminding it to stay strong. Her tongue moved slowly. Every motion looked heavy, like it took effort. The officer noticed her legs shaking when she adjusted her position. She was running on very little strength. He knew they could not stay here much longer. Even if help arrived, getting her to move would be difficult. He reached into his bag again and pulled out a clean cloth. Slowly, he placed it on the ground, closer than before. He waited. The mother dog growled softly, her eyes sharp. The police dog lifted his head briefly, then lowered it again, staying calm. The officer did not pull back. He froze in place. His hand stayed open. After a few seconds, the growling stopped. The cloth stayed where it was. Time passed in quiet tension. The sound of the wind, the distant hum of traffic far away, and the soft breathing of the dogs filled the space. The mother dog finally shifted her body slightly, allowing the puppy to rest more comfortably. That small movement felt like a step forward. The officer felt it. Trust was not given, but it was no longer completely blocked. He slowly slid the cloth closer to the puppy, inch by inch. The cloth stopped just beside the puppy's small body. The mother dog sniffed it, then looked at the officer again. Her eyes were still tired, but something else appeared now. Uncertainty mixed with hope. The officer gently nodded, as if thanking her for allowing it. The puppy's breathing became steadier. The cloth added a bit of warmth. The mother dog relaxed just enough to rest her chin on the ground. Her eyes stayed open, watching everything. Minutes later, a distant sound reached them, the faint noise of a vehicle. The officer straightened slightly, careful not to move too fast. The mother dog noticed too. Her body tensed again. "It's okay," the officer whispered, though he knew she might not understand the words. He kept his voice calm. The vehicle sound faded. Not help yet. The officer sighed quietly. He took a step back and leaned against his car, giving the dogs more space. He stayed close enough to act, but far enough not to pressure them. The police dog remained between the officer and the mother dog, not blocking, just present. The officer's thoughts drifted. He wondered how long the mother dog had been here. How many nights she had spent cold and hungry. How many times she had listened for footsteps that never came. The idea made his chest tighten. The mother dog slowly closed her eyes for a few seconds, then opened them again. Sleep came only in pieces. She could not fully rest. Not yet. The officer checked his radio again. Help was on the way, but delayed. He looked back at the mother dog and puppy. He knew waiting was risky. If the puppy's condition worsened, they might lose precious time. He made a decision. Slowly, carefully, he walked back toward them, stopping every few steps. He lowered himself to the ground again, keeping his body small. The police dog sensed a change and moved slightly, ready but calm. The officer reached out his hand, not toward the mother dog, but toward the jacket. He gently pulled it closer, creating a better shield from the wind. The mother dog watched closely, but did not growl. That was another small sign. The officer then sat still, his hand resting on the ground. He waited again. After a long moment, the mother dog shifted forward, just a little. Her nose touched the officer's fingers briefly. The contact was quick, almost accidental. She pulled back immediately. The officer did not react. He did not move his hand. He did not smile or speak. He stayed calm. That one small touch meant everything. The police dog lifted his head and wagged his tail once, slow and low. The mother dog noticed but did not react negatively. The officer gently placed his hand on the ground again, palm up. The mother dog watched for several seconds, then leaned forward and sniffed again. This time, she did not pull away as fast. Her fear was still there, but was no longer in control. The puppy let out a small cry. The sound was weaker than before. The officer knew they had to move soon. He carefully reached toward the puppy, stopping halfway. The mother dog stiffened but did not growl. Her eyes locked onto his hand. He slowly pulled back, respecting her boundary. "It's okay," he whispered again. He stood up slowly and walked to the car. He opened the back door and laid out a blanket. He made the space warm and quiet. The police dog watched, understanding without instruction. The officer returned and sat down again. He pointed gently toward the car, then toward the puppy, as if explaining. The mother dog tilted her head slightly, confused but watching. He waited. The wind picked up again. The mother dog shivered. The puppy whimpered. Finally, the mother dog did something unexpected. She nudged the puppy gently forward, closer to the officer's jacket. It was not much, but it was a clear sign. The officer felt his throat tighten. He knew this moment mattered. Slowly, with care, he reached out and placed his hand under the puppy, supporting its tiny body. The puppy was light, almost weightless. It did not resist. It was too tired. The mother dog watched closely, tense but still. Her breathing was fast. Her body was ready to react if needed. The officer lifted the puppy just enough to wrap it in the cloth. He did not pull away. He kept it close to the ground, within her reach. The mother dog sniffed the puppy, then the cloth, then the officer's hand. She did not growl. The police dog stayed still, his eyes gentle. This was trust, fragile and thin, but real. The officer carefully moved the puppy closer to the car, stopping every few steps to look back. The mother dog followed slowly, her legs shaky but determined. She would not let her puppy out of sight. Step by step, they moved together. When they reached the car, the officer gently placed the puppy on the blanket. The warmth helped immediately. The puppy's breathing eased just a little. The mother dog stood at the door, unsure. The officer stepped back and waited. He did not rush her. After a few moments, she climbed into the car on her own, curling around her puppy protectively. The officer closed the door softly. He leaned against the car and let out a long breath. He didn't realize he was holding. They were safer now, and the hardest part was still ahead. The car moved slowly at first, then a little faster as the officer carefully drove toward the nearest clinic. He kept one eye on the road and the other on the back seat. The mother dog lay curled around her puppy, her body tense, her eyes wide. She did not relax, not even for a moment. Every turn made her shift, adjusting her position to keep the puppy safe. The police dog sat on the floor near the back seat, steady and quiet. His presence seemed to calm the space just enough to keep panic from taking over. He did not crowd them. He did not stare. He stayed close, but respectful. The officer kept his voice low, speaking softly as he drove. He talked about nothing important, just calm words, steady sounds. The tone mattered more than meaning. He wanted the mother dog to know she was not alone, that this ride was not a threat. Outside, the sky grew darker. Clouds gathered, heavy and gray. The first drops of rain hit the windshield. The officer felt his chest tighten again. Bad, whether it would slow everything down. At a red light, he glanced back. The puppy moved slightly, letting out a faint sound. The sound was weaker than before, barely there. The officer's grip on the steering wheel tightened. He pressed the accelerator as soon as the light changed. The mother dog lowered her head and licked the puppy's face again and again. Her breathing was fast. She looked toward the officer, her eyes full of worry. It was not fear now. It was something deeper. She was asking without words. "I know," the officer whispered. "We're almost there." The rain came harder. The road shined under the streetlights. Traffic slowed. Every second felt longer than the last. The officer stayed focused, weaving carefully through cars when he could, never taking risks that could make things worse. When the clinic finally came into view, he felt a small wave of relief, but it was mixed with fear. This was not the end. It was only the next step. He parked near the entrance and jumped out quickly. Rain soaked his uniform as he opened the back door. The mother dog stiffened at once, her body moving protectively over the puppy. "It's okay," he said softly, holding his hands up again. "We're here." The police dog hopped out and stood beside him, calm and ready. The officer grabbed the blanket carefully, lifting the puppy first, keeping it wrapped and warm. The puppy barely moved. The mother dog followed immediately, jumping down despite her weak legs. She stumbled slightly but stayed upright. Inside the clinic, the air was warm and bright. The smell was clean but sharp. The mother dog froze, overwhelmed by the new sounds and smells. The puppy whimpered faintly. The officer spoke quickly to the staff, his voice urgent but controlled. He explained what had happened, how he found them, how weak they were. The staff moved fast. Doors opened. Hands reached out. The mother dog growled softly when someone stepped too close to the puppy. The officer stepped in front of her, placing himself between her and the staff. He spoke gently to her, then to the staff, asking them to give her a moment. The police dog sat beside her, calm as stone. After a few seconds, the officer slowly handed the puppy over, staying close so the mother dog could see. She followed every movement, her body tense, ready to act. But she did not attack. She did not pull away. She trusted him. The puppy was taken into a nearby room. The door closed softly. The sound of that door closing broke something inside the mother dog. She let out a low cry, not loud but full of pain. She paced in a small circle, her legs shaking. She tried to follow, then stopped, confused. The officer knelt down in front of her, rainwater still dripping from his uniform. He spoke quietly, steady and calm, even though his own heart was racing. "They're helping," he said. "They're helping your baby." The mother dog did not understand the words, but she heard the tone. She slowly lowered herself to the floor, eyes locked on the door. Time moved strangely after that. Minutes felt like hours. The officer sat nearby, his back against the wall. The police dog lay at his feet. Neither of them moved much. They waited. From behind the door came quiet sounds, soft voices, equipment moving. The officer tried not to imagine the worst. He focused on the mother dog instead, on her breathing, on the way her ears moved at every sound. She was exhausted. Her body trembled with effort just to stay awake. The officer worried about her too. She needed help as much as the puppy. A staff member came out and spoke to the officer quietly. The puppy was very weak, cold, dehydrated, but still alive. They were doing everything they could. The officer nodded, thanking them. He felt a mix of relief and fear. Still alive meant hope, but it also meant nothing was certain yet. Another staff member approached the mother dog slowly, offering water and food. The mother dog sniffed, then turned her head away. Her focus never left the door. The officer gently moved the bowl closer and sat back again. After a few moments, she drank a little, just enough. Then she stopped. The rain outside grew heavier. Thunder rolled in the distance. The officer checked his radio. He informed his unit where he was and what was happening. His voice stayed calm, but inside, everything felt tight and heavy. After what felt like forever, the door opened again. The staff member stepped out with careful steps. The puppy was wrapped in clean blankets now, small and still, with tiny movements showing it was breathing. Tubes and wires were gone. The puppy looked fragile but alive. The mother dog stood instantly, her body alert despite her weakness. She stepped forward slowly, sniffing the air, her nose twitching. The officer watched closely, ready to step in if needed. The staff member lowered the puppy gently to the floor, giving the mother space. She moved forward, sniffed the puppy's face, then licked it carefully. Her body relaxed just a little when the puppy responded with a weak movement. The officer let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The staff explained that the puppy would need time, warmth, and care. The next hours would be critical. The mother dog would also need treatment. She was severely underweight and dehydrated. The officer agreed immediately. There was no question. The mother dog was taken to another room for treatment. This time, she resisted more. Fear returned when she was separated again. She tried to pull back, her legs shaking. The officer stayed close, speaking softly, walking beside her as long as he was allowed. The police dog followed too, staying calm, staying present. Eventually, the door closed behind her. The waiting began again. The officer sat alone now, the puppy resting nearby in a warm area where staff could monitor it. The police dog stayed at his side. The officer's thoughts drifted again. He thought about the abandoned lot, about how close this had been to ending very differently, about how many others never get found in time. He looked at the puppy, so small and fragile, fighting quietly to stay alive. He felt a deep sense of responsibility settle in his chest. This was more than a rescue now. This was a promise. Hours passed. The rain slowed. The clinic lights stayed bright. Finally, the door opened again. The mother dog stepped out slowly, wrapped in a clean blanket. She looked tired, but her eyes were clearer. She spotted the puppy immediately and moved toward it. The puppy let out a soft sound. The mother dog curled around her puppy again, just like before, but this time on a clean floor, in warmth and safety.